Okay, folks, here we are again, hopefully for the second portion here of the airbrush session that we weren't able to finish today. So we do need to get these guys finished so we can go on to the next process that'll take place in the morning. So here we have Panzer 4E and a couple of other German tanks that are going to need to get airbrushed in the same fashion. They all have the Panzer Gray on them. They just need to have the highlighting done to them. So that's what we're going to plan on doing. I don't know how long it's going to take. It shouldn't take longer than an hour, I wouldn't think, but you never know. It depends if we have a jam session or not. Sometimes these airbrushes have a mind of their own. But the session this afternoon went really, really well. But I had to kind of stop it in a hurry. So hopefully this is still clean enough to run. If not, I'll have to take the whole damn thing apart and go from there. So let's just screw this back on, and then we can run the pressure on up to about 15 psi, something like that. It's pretty low for this paint. But this is the stage that we need to leave this vehicle at. And it looks like it has white on it. It's not. It's actually, well, it does look like it's white, but it's this silly ass color called sand growl. According to the experts here, this is one of the colors here. And yes, it's backwards. It's on live on the phone, and it just, the whole feed's backwards. Sorry. I don't know there's a way to fix it. So. Oh, we're going way up there. Hold on. Slow down. Okay. Now let's run through some water through here and make sure it's okay. All right, let's try it. Now let's try it with paint. Move this out of the way here. Kind of encroached. Got a low fan blowing this way. All right, and yeah, this is the point where the German tanks start, and the British ones are like this. So this is actually going to get a dry brush of green ochre on top of it. So we need to do that tonight and have that dry, so when we do the wash in the morning, it won't get wiped off. All right, so kind of hard to see because things are with the shadows and stuff. I got really good light here, but still, there's still dark spots. This is the Panzer 2C, and we're gonna add. We're only gonna do one color tonight, and that's sand growl. Sorry, sand growl. Let's do 2 drops. Make sure everything's running okay. And as I've mentioned many times before, I am not, and never will be an airbrush expert. But I will encounter stuff that maybe you guys have issues with that I can kick square in the ass and it can still work. So, you know, maybe there'll be some value to that. But I'm not your airbrush guy. I'm a hand painter guy. Okay, looks like we're in business. All right. And of course, feel free to ask anything. As long as it's related to what we're doing here. No, that's not going to work. It's a little too comfy, and the level's a little too high. So, all right. So we're just going to. What are we running this at? We're running this about 15 psi, maybe 14. And we're just going to do some light highlighting. This has already been primered in black, and then pens are gray. Oh man, so no questions on your favorite brand of hair care products. I don't use any anymore. I used gel for many years, and then I stopped using gel for probably 3 years now. Hair care products. You don't have enough hair. Your hair's not long enough to need hair care products, man. How you doing? Francois is back again. Francois, welcome back. Captain Wee Wee. These prints are actually designed by a Frenchman, and I asked somebody about them if they knew somebody who did 3D printing, if they used them, and they said they did not. But this stuff is amazing. We're just doing a little bit of highlighting here. Mainly to make some areas of the tank different than other areas of the tank. So it doesn't look like, you just painted it with a roller. Well, it's the one day I don't have the Sunday blues because I'm not going into work tomorrow. See, what's tomorrow? Monday? I don't go back until Thursday. So I got to do some hobbying or I'm going to, I'm going to go crazy. Oh, are we out? Nearly so. Just something kind of, some highlighting on there. Come on. Just something like that. And the nice thing is it's so light, you could almost handle it. Let's drop a couple more drops on this. Hobby time is happy time. You bet, Jeffrey. How you doing again? This is the third time you've come to see me. Got to get away from the, what'd you guys call that a couple hours ago? Femroids. Somebody out there has a girlfriend or a wife that does more hobby stuff than they do. And they probably hate the fact that she does hobby stuff. Femoids. Femoroids. I take it, Francois, you're not married. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was going to say, I've been not married most of my life, but it's getting close. It's getting close to being 50-50. Man, that seems freaking strange. I want my girl to have a hobby, just not my hobby. That's right, because then she'll tell you how you're doing it wrong.
You really shouldn't leave your paintbrushes in water. It messes up the bristles.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! No, I've said this before. You know, everybody, what quality would your significant other, you know, because you could have a boyfriend too, if that's what you're into. Just don't make me have one. Although if you're going to make me have a boyfriend, please let me pick who it is. I want him to have nice feet. Oh, it's not Mitch. No, anyhow, I've said that, you know, your significant other person, you know, there's some qualities that could be, you know, horrible to have, you know. The worst quality you could significant other, for me, would be somebody who would want to argue with me about directions. Like, oh, no, I'd be in jail. I'd be in jail. Absolutely not. Anything but that. Just finishing up for the day, was gaming online when you were on last time, so missed a lot. What were you playing online? What is online that is so exciting that I have a hard time getting into anything online. I just don't want to interact socially with people I'm never going to meet. You know? This guy. I did do some video gaming earlier today, and it put me in such a foul mood. I couldn't stand myself. Such a foul mood. Because you're like, all right, I got to get better equipment, or I got to get something else, and then you don't, and you run into a freaking boss fight you just can't deal with. And, you know, boss fight that, like, all right, let me try it 12 times in a row, and you still can't get through it. It's literally keeping you from getting progress in the game. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this shit no more, you know? Well, I got to get this done so we can do the ochre. And then we can wash them. Blood Bowl, Star Realms, and Hero Realms. I've only heard of one of those. My mate has a trapped nerve, so he needs the stimulation of gaming. Has a trapped nerve. I don't know what that is. Hopefully he's okay. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound very comfortable. Man, I had a crazy ass dream last night too. I forgot to tell you guys about it this morning. I had to do with going to another country and I couldn't get out or something like that. I don't, but it was, you know, silly, you know, like. I got the solution. Be such a nuisance. So like, please take him back. In his back. Ooh. I had bad back pain once. I don't want that again. The old anxiety dreams. I tend to have dreams about trying to catch a bus or train, but never get to where I'm going. Yeah, I don't know. Mine are, I think, going to sleep with a full stomach. Like I eat too close to, and I remember all my dreams. Sometimes, like, man, you want to wake up and the worst are work dreams. Then you got to go to work. Like, hold on. I've already done this all night. And here's the cupula, mini cupula. All right, what do you got left? The pins are threes. It's a pins of threes. Man, these things are just absolutely beautiful. I had some guy that sent me a message. You know, I've messages on all my videos. They're moderated, so somebody can't start a jihad or something like that without me allowing it, and I don't allow that. And he sent me a message saying, "Hey, I just checked out your channel and I found a way for you to grow or whatever. Let me know how I should send you what you need to do." And I'm sitting here thinking it would have been easier just to tell me than to say, "Hey, we'll talk later about something else," you know. So I checked out his profile. He doesn't have a single video on his page. So I'm like, okay, well, have fun in Bangladesh. That's where he's supposedly from. Like, I do what I do. If I get viewers, I get viewers. If I don't get viewers, I don't get viewers. I'm doing this solely for keep me on track. Otherwise, I'll find something else to do tonight that is less productive than this. Okay, the other hole, I believe that one was the G. This is the H. Yep. What in the H? I don't want these guys to look like something that's been in some tank museum that was just painted and never used in that color paint. Jeffrey, I saw that you had on your, is it on your page or something like that, where you have recommendations? You have one of the people that was one of the first YouTubers that I saw, and made me realize after I watched his videos, I'm like, I can freaking make my own videos. And I haven't listened to him in a while, but I actually like listening to him. And he's one of those people from your island that speaks very clearly. Maybe because he also speaks very slowly. And now I forgot what his name is. God, what's his last name? Ralph. He lives over there in the southwestern part of England. And he's involved in everything. All kinds of stuff. But man, I like listening to him. It's like I haven't listened to him in a while, but it's the meter of his voice is like calming, you know, it's like ASMR. Of course, I've had my wife listen to it as well. It's like, man, why are you listening to that guy? It's like, because he's calming. Can't think of what his last name is. Astley. Ralph Astley. He's got a shitload of videos out there. Saw his channel looking up naval stuff. He actually plays the naval game that if I played the naval game, I'd play what he's interested in. He's done several naval battles. Or maybe he's done one with multiple parts. That's what it is. Yeah, but he would just set up like the freaking camera. And like, it's really low key. It's probably, it's therapy for him, just like this is for me. To sit there and, talk about stuff. He just sets up his video camera and sometimes nothing's even moving. So I said, man, I could do that. But he's involved in all kinds of different stuff. I can't jump around like that. I'd never get anything done. But most people aren't like me. They jump around, dabble in different stuff. Someone said they were putting together a flat top scenario. What would that likely be about? Well, if it didn't involve giving you a haircut, it would have to be something like, Battle of Midway or something like that. Battle of Midway, Coral Sea. I wouldn't call a flat top scenario something that involved British aircraft carriers. Flat top automatically to me is World War II Pacific, US Japanese. Because I don't think the British called the carriers flat tops. I knew you were the person to ask. It's got to be that. It's got to be an aircraft carrier thing, Battle of Midway kind of thing. Yeah. It might even have like blind. It might have like people in two different rooms, right? So people over. There was an Avalon Hill game called Flat Top. I never played it. It was an Avalon Hill game, and I think it's the Battle of Midway, or it might have Midway, Coral Sea, and some of the other ones. But It might have, like a moderator and then people in two different rooms and with a map and, hey, you see this over here, what do you do, kind of thing. So that could be pretty cool, but you got to have a third person. You got to have somebody who's willing to just be the the bitch that walks from from side to side. That's difficult. You got to have somebody that's really knowledgeable, knows the rules, that's willing to just GM it. And also have some players that kind of respect all the effort that goes into it. There's a game that we used to play, it was probably a decade ago. Online. Not online, by email. And it was Wings of War. And this guy, the DBA guys from Historicon put this thing together, and we were all playing. And this guy had a digitizer. He'd send him in his moves, and he'd show you where everybody was, and he'd turn your turns in. And he would. It was just a lot of freaking work for the guy doing it. And we did a campaign one time, and what happened is some of the people that were playing the campaign were just like doing stupid shit, like getting themselves killed. So it just didn't make sense that everybody that was doing all the effort to kind of put everything together was just basically getting taken for a ride. They wanted to kind of do it for, find out for whatever reason, and they had, a bunch of kids playing it that didn't take it seriously. So that could be kind of a bummer if you're doing that kind of thing. I had that board game in the 1980s. Favorite scenario was Rings Around the Ball. Could never get anyone else to play it, so it was moved on. I don't remember hating any Avalon Hill game that I played. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I just remembered one of the board games and I'm not a board game hater. I don't play board games because I don't have time for everything, but I don't dislike board games unless they, don't have any die rolling in them. And then they can just, unless it's Wallenstein, that's a good board game. That has no die rolling. But it has that tower where you put things in and they come out at different times. And so it kind of does, in a way. So Tony or anyone else in chat, did you get into historical gaming when you were teens or younger, or did it not come till later? Teens. I got into history because of my dad. I got into military history because of, I went from dinosaurs into World War II when I was 11. What happened? 1982? Yeah, and then I saw a hobby store, people playing a game. I'm like, ooh, put me in, coach. When I was about 15 or 16. Well, my dad wasn't into gaming, but he did have that. He did put that in my head that, about history and stuff like that. So, but my dad was not a gamer. That's how I got into it. I didn't have any older brothers or anything like that. It got me into that. I remember playing the first time I played Risk. How old was I? Maybe 10? And I thought it was the hardest freaking game in the world. Because of the cards and all that shit, And then you're like, well, this game isn't hard, but it's just not worth playing, Like, just think of the first time you ever played Monopoly. If you were like a kid, you're like, man, this is hard. And you're like, this game's not hard enough. That's why I won't play it, Like, just buy everything until you land on it, and then just sit back and, see who's unfortunate enough to land on the other people's stuff more, kind of thing. Here's your game. You play Monopoly for the first time, you don't even know what Monopoly means. We're talking about board games this morning about that. Game of Thrones came up, Rick, and I've only played one Game of Thrones game, and it was the one by Fantasy Flight. And I played it before I even ever watched the series, and of course I'm never going to read the books. That's just a waste. Risk mechanics are simple, but the strategy has a large learning curve. They're silly because of the card turning in thing. So you get pushed back in the corner, turn in your cards, you come all the way. Luckily, military operations are nothing like that. But it's better than Catan. But just about anything's better than Catan. I'd rather go to work and not get paid than play Catan. Because there's a lot of games I dislike, but at least there's stuff to look at on the board, right? Like maybe it's got some pretty art or something like that. Not Catan. You're looking through the freaking the lenses of like a bee. Everything's freaking in hexagons. You're like,
Oh, this game sucks.
I tried to play Catan one time. That's it. I'm out. Never play that game again. God, I hate Catan. And there's probably other games that I would probably enjoy, but it's probably really difficult to get people to play Munchkin. Like Munchkin you can't play against people that don't take losing well. You like Twilight Imperium the best. I've heard stories of that thing setting up forever. It's like Axis and Allies. I think Axis and Allies is a decent game as a two-player game. Add more people. What are you doing for the hour and a half before it's your turn again? There's just not enough stuff to look at. Now, sometimes, if everybody's learning how to play the game, and it takes a while for your turn to come up, it's not too bad. Like, for instance, what's the game that Richard Harris came up with? Richard Harris being, I think that's what his name is, the designer of Axis and Allies. He came up with a game where you're looking at the Earth basically from the north. War Room or something like that. There are people you absolutely cannot play Munchkin with. Yeah. Like, you could play it with me. I don't take shit personally. I don't want to backstab people on purpose, but, there's a time where you have to. Somebody has to be backstabbed, then it's not personal. But I've played games with people I played games with this game group I was in, and this guy's purpose in life was always to kill one other player. Like, there was a certain player, we'll call him Frank, and anytime Bob was playing, Frank always wanted to kill Bob. Like, even if that wasn't even it's like, it's some kind of a weird fetish there, like, you must die, And luckily, that's kind of a unusual situation, fortunately, because that's kind of a bummer there, but yeah. I can't stand playing with people who don't want to follow the rules. Like, I play a fair amount, not a fair amount, but when we get together as when we get together as a family, with my mom and stuff, they always want to play card games, and of course, it's just standard cards and boring. But we'll look at stuff like we were playing Mexican dominoes the other thing, and like people are trying to figure out what the rules are and like making up shit and just be. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play stuff wrong, man. And it's hard for me to play games with people that don't play games because people that don't play games haven't lost enough. And, when you lose a lot of games, when you play a lot of games, you lose a lot of games. So you become kind of humbled by it, like, hey, the other guy's trying to win too. But people that don't play games, they think they can win every time just because they're smarter. I'm like, that's not how it works, Frank always wants to kill Bob, shaking my head. Even in Candyland, Frank was always trying to incite violence. Candyland. This is a game that that my daughter got as a kid, as a young child. We've played the living hell out of. and it was Star Wars Trouble. We haven't played it in a long time, but we played that quite a bit. It's got the batteries in there, and you pop it. Is it Trouble? Where you have the die that you pop on the thing, and and sometimes R2D2, it's the shape of R2D2, and he goes, "Wow!" I don't have that high of a voice, thankfully, but he does his little shriek, and we did play that quite a bit, but you don't have very many meaningful decisions to make in that. But I like games with dice. I do. I like dice. It's like something you can do. All right, let's put these pieces together and make sure they look all right. Because I didn't paint them together. Let's make sure everything's jiving. Okay, this is the H. Okay, the H is the one that has the turret, the cupola issue. So this is the G turret. And I just want to make sure there's not like a real discrepancy in color between the top and the bottom, because that might end up being apparent after I go to the next step. That seems okay. This seems okay. A good looking vehicle. I'm a fan of the Panzer IIIs. Okay, and this is the C, and this is the F. And the F has the turret box on it, which the Panzer II is the Panzer II is probably the only tank that I can handle in the German army that when it doesn't have a box on it, it doesn't look like a freak. Yeah, like this looks okay, even without the box. But you take a Panzer III with no box, looks weird. Panzer IV, no box, God help me. Just looks strange. Okay, and here's the cupola for this guy. And here's the cupola for this guy. Which came unglued. Yep. And here's the Panzer IV. Yeah, they look like they're going to Wintergewitter. But that's not really what's going on. That's a 2025 project, or a 2026 project, I should say. We still got some more. Now, if I trusted my talent, if I had any talent airbrushing, I would load up the green ochre and spray this right now instead of dry brushing it. But I have zero confidence in. I'm afraid of screwing that up sideways big time. So you get your first 2 boxes of Airfix figures when I was 5, as well as a train set. We used 2d6 for movement and firing. Then I discovered Charles Grant's Battle Practical Wargaming when I was 9. Been gaming ever since. Have any of you ever played? What's the game that people love it or hate it? PK. Do any of you guys ever play PK? Spelled Piquet. Some people hate that game. I've never played it, but the fact that things can happen out of order, I'm a big fan of that. Yes, not for a while. Is it weird? Is it work, or does it work? Man, people love or hate that game. What's the name of that movie that everybody loves or hates? Most people hate it. Thin Red Line. I don't know why you're running so much. It's only like 15 psi, dude. It's only like 15 psi. What else we got out here that we can work on? I'm not ready to cut out. Oh, you know what I can do? Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to use the damn primer. Primer, pain in the ass to clean up. I got these things. I don't remember who the hell I got them from. There's something useful for a scenario. These little points. God, I don't want. I don't want to paint that with black. Atchison Creations. This is dumpsters and tires. Look at this thing. I didn't know I had this. I got it. I got to do something with that. I can just find it. I can bring it inside and do it. What else we got here? Sandbags and shit. Will any of this stuff work on a tank? I know I've got... Kind of, but that would fall off in a heartbeat. Yeah, I got my just from the same nuts, different. I got some of my stuff out here for my modern Africa things. I found them looking around. Including a helicopter, you know, to small scale. So, oh, look, I got a palm tree. Yeah, these guys. Remember these? Oh, these are sergeants, the boy warriors. Okay, so you've got these child soldiers. Yeah, this is for my tongue-in-cheek thing. I don't know that I'm ever going to get around to doing that. There's just so much stuff to do, and look, here's another thing I could fix up. Maybe we'll find this stuff. Oh, got another one. Liberation Miniatures. Remember Liberation Miniatures? There's another one. Man, how many things do I have? Yeah, this is all my modern Africa, my imagination stuff. If you don't know what imagination is, it's an imaginary nation. Imagination. So me and one of my mates get it. The last game I played was an ACW game using the field of battle rules. They changed the mechanism so that they're not so great or random swings between initiative. Yeah, I don't ever want to play anything that's a tournament ever again. I'm not a tournament player. I never was. It's not that I don't want to be competitive. I'm competitive when I'm just playing a regular game. I just don't want somebody telling me, you got to play it this way. But it doesn't make sense to anybody playing the game. Yeah, but them's the rules. Well, then that's not the game for me. You know? If I like Face a Battle and I encounter something that is broken or doesn't make sense, you better believe I'm not going to play it that way. It just isn't going to happen. You have two modern ones, People's Republic of Fallopia and Enovia. Enovia sounds like it's in Eastern Europe. Fallopia, that's where they tie those tubes together, right? I can see the t-shirt already. My friends got their tubes tied in Fallopia, and all I got was this t-shirt. Or maybe it's a place where people are really clumsy. Oh, I got Fallopia all over the place. Yeah, the sky's the limit with that stuff, man. You could get out of control in a heartbeat. I may do it one day, but it definitely will not. I won't be using Face a Modern Battle or anything. It'd be like my own concoction. I did have one of these match. I found this. This was a beast to find. This is an old Corgi. I need to see how it compares. M8 armored car. See how it compares to an actual M8 and see if it scales okay. But I had painted this up for the host nation. Let's put it that. So the host nation in my game is the main protagonist, I guess is what it's called. But I didn't get any further than that. If I wanted to do that now, I probably would have a lot more motivation than I did back then, because I'm not trying to do DVA at the same time. But who knows if I'll ever get around to doing it again. But I have painted a squad and a half for. Well, that sounds like a lot, but no, I was just kind of brainstorming one time, and I was like, I wrote down all this stuff on like a yellow piece of manila notebook. And like I created a scenario of like, okay, there's these mercenaries that are trying to escape down this river, and they got to get to this airfield. And it's probably from playing some of the Pig Wars games that we played, where you've got multiple players on a side that could potentially be allies, but they all have conflicting things that they need to accomplish. Like maybe one guy is allied with somebody else, but he wouldn't mind if something happened to this other guy. PK works best for periods before the 20th century. There's a lot of preparation, but it's worth it. There's some units that you don't know what their qualities are until they enter combat. Well, that's it's not going to work for the Second World War. I just know that people have really different opinions on that game. And I've never seen anybody play it. But I have a feeling it's kind of an old school. There's a lot of rule sets that I've never seen anybody play. Crossfire. I've never seen anybody play Crossfire. I saw a play-by-play video of it and made me realize I don't ever want to play it. But Lindy Beige actually has a Crossfire game, I think. Now that I think about it. Oh, Lindy Beige. That looks relatively clean. Well, we're going to slide this thing out. Give it a little bit of... Ist mein hand sanitizer. And here is the needle that goes with the 0.5. Yeah, any mechanic where one side's sitting around for a predetermined period of time, like you don't know when your turn's gonna, you know exactly when your turn's gonna come up next, and you're not gonna be needed for the next half hour, just creates massive amounts of apathy. Look how clean that is. Woo! Just creates lots of apathy. So you're basically playing a game by yourself and like nobody's contributing to it. Well, that's no fun. Missing anything else? Ah, the old Matilda. No. No, I didn't wash these beforehand. Oh man, I've had this. Geez, I've had this probably 20 years, maybe. I think it's cured by now. Now we're gonna have to pump up the volume here. Something fierce. Let's go to 40. And let's get our body cavity search glove on. Orifice, so we can get our Orifice Explorer merit badge. And these gloves suck because we'll double glove it today. How about that? They suck because they rip so easily. Base 2 armies for Crossfire, only played 2 games. God, I hate when that happens, right? Maybe should have given it more time, had to rebase the armies for Blitzkrieg Commander. Flames War when he first came out. Yeah. I always wanted to try that set of rules that I had, but I never got a chance to try them. Made by Clash of Arms Games, and it was called Clash of Armor. It's called a Clash of Armor. And what was unique about that one is it was a 1 to 5 scale game. So, you know, like Command Decision or Rapid Fire. And it had an activation number for each company. I think it was each company. So each group of 3 tanks or so had an activation number. I think it was company, it wasn't battalion. And you had to roll to see if they activated. And if they activated, you got to do their thing. And you would keep going until you failed an activation. But you could try to reactivate a unit that's already been activated, but you accrue these points of disruption or something like that, and which would be harder and harder. You basically can basically exhaust a unit. So if you've got like a unit that's got, Tiger ones or something like that, and you're getting swarmed by a bunch of Russian tanks or something, and you want them to act again and again and again, and you can run them into the ground. But I read the rules and it looked like, okay, we can't do this. I've got no tactileness in there. Okay. I'm only a half of a Blue Man Group. But I never played it. But it looked like it had a lot of potential. I actually knew one of the playtesters of it much later. One of the DBA players that used to play Historicon. He's credited in the rule book. And it's a 1-to-5 scale gain, and so I don't dislike that scale. It just makes infantry really unimportant, you know? Like, oh, you got infantry? Oh, never mind. Well, that worked really well. Let's get in these nook and cranny. I mean, when an airbrush is working well, it's working well. When it's being a little bitch, it's a bitch. Hello. Sometimes you gotta give it a kick in the pants. Sorry, kick in the trousers. These all the same. This is the same as this one. It's also the same as that one. Okay, these just look different, but they're the same kind of crap. Maybe I can put a tarp over some of this stuff in different places and it'll make it look like different little scattered groups of this stuff. Targets for my SAS? Well, yeah, and everybody else. I don't know, that show is not really motivating me to paint SAS. You know, I have to go back and look at the history, and it just seemed like a bunch of fuck ups. You know, sometimes if you're too much of a fuck up, it doesn't seem believable. And I don't like some of those long range. I don't like those long range desert group Chevrolet trucks. They're just ugly as shit. But I do have a Rommel figure, and you know, you could have a raid on him. Never seen that movie. Raid on Rommel. It's James Mason again, right? James Mason again as Rommel. It's funny, like James Mason was like a conscientious conscientious. What is it? Basically, he wasn't going to go in the Second World War in Britain, but then he goes and plays a bunch of military guys. After I would have been like, you know, I'd have a problem with that if I was like a veteran. I'm like, you candy ass, you didn't want to serve your country when you had to. Now you want to be a pretend soldier, you know? Conscientious objector. There we go. Whew. Well, in my defense, I didn't know I was going to have to practice to say that word today. Conscientious objector. But yeah, what's his name? Marcus did give me some SAS guys. A couple squads on them. Raid on Rommel used a lot of footage from Tobruk, which I haven't seen. How many soda caps do I have? A lot. I love this stuff. This white tack, hobby tack, whatever. Great material. I'm gonna get another big one. Do you have one more? Or is this the last one that we have? We got one more, okay. Sometimes movies can be too old when you see them. You know, you wait too long to watch a movie, and then you see it, and it's like, if you'd seen it when you were a kid, it might be, you know, you might have a better impression of it. Like I watched Guns and Navarone so many times I couldn't even count. So if I watched it again, I may not like it. But, you know, it's got a spot in my heart from being a kid and it being on there all the damn time. You know, if I go and watch something now that's an older movie, you know, and I'm like, well, this isn't very good. Well, I don't have that, you know, I watched this as a kid type of reaction to it anymore. I had the misfortune to sit through Breakthrough tonight. Oh, okay. I mentioned it to you. Yeah. Not worth a watch. Terrible 70s soundtrack. And, oh, so the soundtrack is shitty like Kelly's Heroes. And old actors coding through a poorly plotted film. Breakthrough. There's some people from the original film that are in that, I think. Okay, this bloody bastard isn't gonna stick. That's we have ways of making you change your ways, you some bitch. Here we go. We're just gonna do it like this. Coasting. Yeah, breakthrough. Now, I was actually surprised that Coburn, because I saw that movie. That was one of my favorites as a kid because it was Eastern Front. Like, that's all you got, you know? Even though there's a one scene in the movie, there's the, with the BJ that goes wrong. That's edited. I never saw that as a kid because I was edited off TV. I don't know that anything else was edited, but that was edited. And that's kind of unnecessary in that kind of a film anyways, but... I think Coburn did a good job trying to do some kind of an accent. Like just do something. So we're going to have, tomorrow morning is a work day, but not for me. So it's going to be like a Sunday. And so is the next day. And so is the next day after that. So for you early bird morning lovers, sounds like an insult. You early bird morning lover, sequel to Cross of Iron, connection tenuous and forced. Your head would explode with all the historical inaccuracies and anachronisms. Yeah. Yeah, I just can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore with those anachronisms. I don't think the Battle of the Bulge movie is that bad. Well, first of all, I grew up with it. And yeah, they had the wrong tanks, but what did you expect? They don't have the real tanks around. At least the German tank, the M47 is bigger and has an overhang. I don't know why they didn't use Shermans, but I didn't think it was that bad. And yeah, there's the one part that's supposed to be in the winter time. Just pretend it's winter. It's a Florida winter. And a lot of the incidents in it did happen, especially the fight at the fuel dump. Yeah. I don't like Henry Fonda at all. Got one of those funny New York accents. And the other guy I don't like, I guess he's got a lot of accents. I don't like, who's the guy in the Death Wish movies? I don't like him. I don't like him. The Lithuanian dude, Charles Bronson. Not a fan. I don't like these people with these creepy mustaches, man. Only a few people can pull off mustaches correctly. Rick needs to go out and get a mustache. Show us how it's done. Yeah, everybody pans that movie like it's terrible. It's not that bad. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, consider the time. That's how movies were. It's got better music than Kelly's Heroes. And I am going to watch it again whenever I find it, you know, for free. And I probably won't hate it, you know, but I'll still hate the music. Hippie loved child music in the 40s. And A Bridge Too Far would be better if it was made in a bunch of different movies. You know, I've never seen The Longest Day because it's in black and white. I don't think I'd like it. Probably be on Channel 5 or ITV when I'm in London. Well, I don't have time to watch TV. I ain't got no time for that. I'm curious to see what I'm going to like and not like. It's got to be better than New York. That's not asking for a lot. I think that's it, right? We're at the end of the line. We still got primer left? Yeah, we're just going to blow this out. I don't get sucked into something else. Oh, didn't have a lot left. All right, let's take the bottom of this out. Let's make sure this is in good functioning order. We have a shipment of something that should arrive tomorrow, so we'll have an unboxing video if it does arrive. And for those of you that know, you know what it is already. I've better cursive with this than in real life. It's funny, you can do great camouflage patterns when it doesn't matter. I'm surprised they have programming like that in Britain. I think there's probably so much stuff that they forgot what, you know. what happened 80 years ago. The youth is lost everywhere. Okay, let's just pretend this is cleaned out enough. So I do need to get to washing these tanks. I should do that. Not washing them, priming, dry brushing the German tanks. Okay, shut this off. No issues tonight. Did we get a little bit better at airbrushing? Well, sometimes you can only improve. You get so bad at something, hopefully you can only improve. I'm surprised this thing was running as much as it was. But, yeah, this is just a Masters Airbrush Cool Runner dual fan compressor. 3 liter. So, unplug and discharge air before servicing. We won't be servicing that thing. We're going to run that thing into the ground, and then if it no longer works, we'll get another one. Okay, folks. I don't think I'll have to buy another one, but, you know. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys in the morning. See ya.